Hello, everybody. Welcome, everybody, to Purple Haze Podcast. I am your lovely host, Isaac here. And so the Vikings, they will take on the Green Bay Packers week 8 at Lambeau Field at noon. So basically, after the 49ers victory on Monday night, the Vikings have gone to not competing to competing. So the rest of the teams after the bye week, they control their own destiny from here. So basically, this is definitely all of the games that the Vikings are going to play are must wins, and hopefully they can absolutely do that. I would absolutely love to see a run. So you could possibly go 8-4 if you win the next 5 games that you are playing. Right now, focusing on the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers are let's go ahead and start off with the Vikings. I mean the Packers defense and what they must do. So for defense, the Packers four-man rush is actually pretty solid. I mean, so basically the offensive line is going to have themselves I'm not worried about Christian Darrisaw or Brian O'Neill. I think they will do more than enough of a solid job against Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary. I mean, they're physical dudes too as well, but I feel like they should be able to do enough to stop them as much as they can. And let's see. And now but there's one guy, Kenny Clark. It's going to be Kenny Clark. And also Kenny Clark's also very good too as well. So Kenny Clark is actually a pretty decent guy, I must say. But most of the time he's going up against Garrett Bradbury, which Kenny Clark is the Batman to Garrett Bradbury's Robin. So it's going to be an absolute tough one. I need Garrett Bradbury to step up and win against Kenny Clark for the majority of the game because Garrett Bradbury is actually doing pretty well this season. I'll go as far to say that. So we'll see how that matchup goes. And also a couple linebackers, Quay Walker and Devondre Campbell. They're solid. They have some injuries in the secondary. Eric Stokes and I believe, let's see, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's Eric Stokes and Darnell Savage who are basically not going to play versus the Vikings as far as I heard. So I mean, you still got Jair Alexander, Adrian Amos. You still got some tough secondary out there, but here's basically some things that basically the offense needs to do is the Packers are they're basically bottom 5 in rushing defense. They are bottom 5 in the league. So the Vikings should be able they should be able to hand the ball off all game long. I feel like that's what they can do. They can give it to Alexander Madison if they want to, or they can give it to Cam Akers. I mean, I feel like Cam Akers might give you more yards than Madison, but there's no reason for Madison to go off against the Packers' run defense because the Packers' run defense is pretty bad, and almost every single team was able to rip off 5-6 yards a carry every single game. So I feel like the Vikings, they should be able to run all over them. I'm not saying that you should not pass it at all. You can definitely do that. But the 1-2 punch should mainly be Brandon Powell and Jordan Addison because they're very, very reliable as far as I'm concerned. You can basically rely on both of them and KJ Osborne as the wide receiver 3 in that order. I feel like that should be fine. And also Kirk Cousins, he also needs to mentally be there in the game because Kirk Cousins can play good only if he is there, and if he can execute, he is there for the taking. So if Kirk Cousins can mentally just relax, make throws, move around them the pocket, and he's locked in the game, he is a dangerous quarterback in a good way. As far as the Packers offense is not really good. Jordan Love, I mean, he's really not an answer. He's not the answer for the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to say this much. 7 weeks is a large enough sample size for me to say that Jordan Love is not the guy. I'm not a Packers fan. No. Hell no. I'm not going to be one for my entire life. But to be honest, he's basically mediocre at best. He hasn't done anything really as far as I saw. I mean, the receivers, Jaden, maybe Romeo Dobbs, Christian Darrisaw. No, I'm sorry, not Christian Darrisaw, Christian Watson, and Jaden Reed. I mean, those are really the only like bright spots that I mean, kind of somewhat bright spots, but as far as the offensive line, I mean, they missing David Bakhtiari, who is going to miss out on the season, and I'm not sure if Elton Jenkins is on the injury report. I don't know. You have to let me know. But the really only relying thing that Packers like to really, really rely on is screen passes and rushing with Aaron Jones or AJ Dillon. AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones are the main playmakers for the Packers. So if you can, so for the Vikings, if you can limit Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, force Jordan Love to beat you with his arm, because the Broncos secondary is not good. Yes, they had 2 passing touchdowns, but they got lucky on both plays, which were bad plays by the Broncos defenders. So the Vikings need to challenge Jordan Love as much as you can, and of course bring the pressure, which Brian Flores is good at doing that, but I still need to see more from the forefront, because mainly from Danielle Hunter and DJ One. They're going to need themselves a big day, because the Packers are going to dial up as much screen passes as they can, because once you blitz, there's not many guys really there, and they're just going to break off 10 yards every time, and it's going to be very, very effective for the Packers. So you're going to have to be ready for those screens, and sometimes Jordan Love can scramble sometimes, which we also have to watch for that. So make sure you blitz at a good rate. You can blitz, but just kind of be careful when you blitz. So, I mean, I think the defense should do a good job, basically, because the Packers' offense is really not that good at all. Their previous 2 losses came against the Raiders and against the Broncos, which they are not good football teams. So, I feel like the Vikings should be able to handle business against the Packers. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a 1-score game, but they should be able to dust the brakes off the Packers. So I feel like the Vikings do control their destiny. I hope that they are not comfortable against the 49ers game and go into the Packers game. I hope they do not relax. I hope they keep that same energy all week long like you had, and you should be good to go. My final score prediction, I'm going to say the Vikings get the win. I'm going to say it's not going to be a 1-score game this time. I'm going to say 26-14, which is my final score prediction. So thank you guys so much for watching. Making sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Skol.